What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Miss Analytical, and I'm coming to you straight out of NYC on this hot Wednesday evening. And I am going to be doing my review for P-Valley Season 1, Episode 1. Episode called Perpetratin. Now, before I begin, I've been doing P-Valley reviews on my other channel for the second season. But I'm going to really redo them again and do it on this channel because that one only got like 28. So I'm going to get into it. I love this show, by the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the first season when I do the reviews, but I'm going to do them as if I know all the characters and everything because I'm an analytical person. So I'm going to go not just on surface, but I'm going to say some things, particularly about Autumn, Haley, Lakeisha Savage, Colton Knight. Okay? So how this show opens up, the very first scene, Houston, Texas had a flood / hurricane / storm in the middle of the night. And Autumn, really Haley, was running for her life because Montavious, who is her husband, Montavious basically tried to kill her. Now, I believe, since I've been watching all the episodes, I believe that Montavious isn't that bad of a guy. Okay? And we're going to find out what really, really happened. I'm not saying that he's a good guy. But what I'm saying is how bad he's been portrayed. A lot of the stuff that went on, I believe both people could have been something. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But looking at how Autumn moves and what she's doing recently with the club, how she's trying to plan on selling it to get millions of dollars. Something... What Montavious was saying, you a cold bitch to love. It's something to this. So, what happens is, there's a truck that floats towards Haley's direction. And she opens it, and basically, it's like she already knew what it was. Because, see, the one thing about trunks usually have a lock to it, but this one didn't. And what I think happened, this is just me. I give two scenarios. One, it could have been by chance and by fate that she found this. Or what it could have been something planned. But the way she opened it, though, it's like when she was looking for something, she was finding, like, when she found the wallet, it was like, oh, shit, I found something. And the wallet said Lakeisha Savage. I mean, not the wallet, but the ID. She found an ID that said Lakeisha Savage. And when she finds the ID, she basically is like, 5/10/1997, and it's like, oh shit, I could basically pass myself off as Lakeisha Savage because Haley Colton is her real name. And what she's doing is she's basically trying to get away from Montavious and start a new life. So she heads on this bus, and the bus stops over for a 15-minute layover. And so she's like basically letting the bus driver know when he asks her, hey, are you basically coming on a bus? And she's like, no, I'm not coming on a bus. Like, she just walks away. She don't really talk. Now, she lost everything. And what I mean, everything. If you haven't seen the show, you're going to find out what it is. So, you'll see. But it's really sad. So, she walks down, and you see her walking down through the bushes. And she basically cuts to the scene where she's in the bathroom. And she cuts and colors her hair because she had like this frizzy hair that was like brownish with like some blonde highlights. It wasn't the cutest hairstyle, to be honest with you. But she basically colors it, and she must have bought some like Clairol dye, and she straightens out, and she cuts it. But then it looks like a weave. I don't know, because Haley, she's a really hard one to really figure out. She's a mystery. So what happens is she stays in the town, and the town that she stays that she basically decides to walk to is Chucalissa, Mississippi. And when she's walking towards, like, where she sees a lot of people populating that, it's in front of the club that we know as the Pink. So the Pink people's online, ready, to go there, and they do an announcement by DJ Never Scared. I like that kid, though. And DJ Never Scared is like, basically people line up at the Pink, off the exit, off the 29 exit in the Dirty Delta. Or maybe it could be Uncle Clifford. I don't know who's announcing it, but one of them is. I love Uncle Clifford too. So basically, we open with Mercedes basically preparing to dance, and she basically talk about, some dude, they was saying how, I can't, Mercedes talking shit. Then we see Keyshawn. Now, this is important. And this is why I'm doing a review for season 1, to go back with the clues that was given to us, like the Easter eggs that was given to us in the previous season that we're noticing for season 2. So Keyshawn was injured from doing a monkey drop because the man basically busted a bottle on top of her head. So she comes in there and she's got a bruise. Now we know Keyshawn is getting her ass whooped by this white man named Derek. And she just got back from maternity leave. Now, what I want to say about this episode is that you're going to see a lot of these characters are like being introduced to us like we're watching a play, like how the mood is. It's really giving us play theater vibes. That's because Pink Valley was a play. It was an off Broadway production play. And it's been 6 incarnations, so I want to say that. So Gidget basically, is asked by Keyshawn, can you basically, go, and finish my set? She's like, no, I just left. She got her white t-shirt on. She's like, I just left. So she's like, I'll give you a blunt. So, Mercedes like, all right, I'll do it. It's whatever. But, you won't owe me in the future. So what happens is Gidget is basically in the break room, dressing room, helping Keyshawn, cover the mark and stuff. And so she's like, basically, I just got back. Like, how am I going to deal with another scar? I can't get another scar. And she was like, Gidget's like, hair can cover this scar, but floss can't cover that one. Now, floss is basically makeup. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that there's a bump that Keyshawn has. And if you look at that bump, what it really indicates is that Keyshawn has been getting pounded by Derek while she was giving birth to her daughter. But she's wearing makeup, but no matter what, makeup isn't really covering it. Plus, how you feel inside, you could basically put all the makeup on that you want, but we could not only just still see that, but the soul is not going to hide what's really going on at home, because you wearing the scars on your face, because it's both literal scars and figurative scars. You're wounded, Keyshawn. Derek is the devil. And I'm going to do a special review on that. So now we get to Autumn. So Autumn basically is looking at photos of... No. Let me go back. So Autumn is basically still on the line. And she basically is told by Diamond that, after Diamond scans this man's forehead, he got a bullet. But he starts charging him 20. He tells Autumn, you paying 30. She was like, why? He was like, because bitches pay 30. So he points to the sign. Niggas pay $20 to get into the Pink, but bitches pay $30. So Uncle Clifford charges women more to get into the Pink than men, but it's usually the other way around. But then again, which team Uncle Clifford plays for, So let's keep that real. So Diamond is basically offered by Autumn to take $20 and I'll give you my email. He's like, bitch, you better pay the $30. Otherwise, you're not getting in. So Autumn does something that, you're going to see throughout the season. It's something that quote unquote light-skinned chicks do. She going to get attention out of the way. So she stands at the sign because there's a big booty contest happening at the Pink. So whoever basically wins has a chance to basically, kind of, be able to work at the spot. So she stands there and decides to use her looks to basically, try to end up working there, which is a smart move. So Mercedes is basically doing a private dance for this man. So the man turns out to be work at the sheriff's office. The sheriff's the sheriff's office. Yeah, whatever. So she's like, listen here, whatever you do, don't touch. So this dude is not smart. Or he could be drunk. Or he could just be thirsty. If you want to touch, don't touch her punani. He tried to touch her thing. And then when he finally did, she basically cracked that beer bottle in half and put that part was sharp with the glass to his throat, knowing that he works in the sheriff's office where he can arrest people. She didn't care. She basically was like, I will cut you MF. So, excuse me. So, what he does is he gets himself kicked out the Pink, and Diamond throws him out, whips his ass, and basically says, your business ain't welcome here. And he was like, the Pink ain't been hitting on shit in years. And so Uncle Clifford comes out and said, well. So you here at the Pink, does your wife know that you spending up all them dollars on my girls? And so he's like, man, let me just go. Because he was like, I'll tell your wife. So Sheriff Bailey comes over and he basically's like, yeah, the guy that works there, he can't hold his liquor. So what ends up happening is this. He's like, you better not be selling liquor at this club because the new mayor has this policy, and the new mayor is played by Isaiah Washington IV. I like throwing that in because that's his real government name. That's the man that got fired from Grey's Anatomy. He plays Mayor Tyrell Ruffin, but he's also the cousin to Uncle Clifford. So the rules are, by the mayor, you can't sell liquor at the Pink. Because they basically do nude dances. Not at the front of the club, but in the private rooms, the champagne room, and like the Mercedes room. So you can't sell liquor. But they sell hot wings and other stuff. So what happens is Clifford basically gives him bribes to basically get him off the back. Like, don't tell the mayor. Which, I ain't gonna lie, if everybody's bribing at this point, I ain't gonna be mad at Uncle Clifford Bribe because you're gonna see throughout the series why he's doing the things he's doing. So, Diamond is basically saying, you are better off letting Sheriff Bailey go inside to see the women pop their as opposed to buying them off. So he's like, Diamond, hush now. I ain't got time for that. Because Uncle Clifford can be very emotional. So DJ Never Scared is basically, doing the spins and everything. And what happens is we meet strippers, potential strippers of the Pink that want to dance at the Pink Booty, I think it's called the Big Booty, the Pink Booty Battle. Okay. So it's this girl named Blue Cinnamon, and they laughing at her name. Then you have Strawberry, and then he tells this one girl, you better not be using the name Alizé, because the last girl that used the name Alizé, basically she bombed. So her name is Alizé. Then there's another girl, and then there's someone else that comes up. And he tells her, where's your floss? And the floss is basically the outfit and the beauty. So he says, Maite, send her, basically sell her one of your outfits. So she was like, this is $15. So she didn't have it. So Mike Tay was like, but I'll basically charge you 10. So she walked over and Alizé says, oh, you know, that's that Yves Saint Laurent. And she responds and she was like, Yves Saint Laurent. That's what Autumn tells her, Yves Saint Laurent. So she looking in the mirror, getting ready to, you know, go on stage. And so Uncle Clifford says, bitch, what your name is? And Autumn is standing there. And he's like, bitch, I said what your name is. And she's like, Autumn Night. And Uncle Clifford said, sounding all poetic and shit. So we get to Mercedes going into the club, well, to the office of the Pink, and telling Uncle Clifford, showing him the promo that she made because it's her last dance. So Mercedes is retiring, and her goal is to open a dance studio to teach girls, young girls, little girls, adolescents, teenagers, about dancing. But she also has a team called the Chuckaloosa Challengers. That's the name, the Chuckaloosa Challengers. I love that name. So we get Mercedes saying, you know, after 7 years, I'm leaving. So he's like, after 7 years, you a bitch ready to leave. She was like, that 401k got to be spent somewhere, which is to invest in a club. So Mercedes been stacking her paper for years, for 7 years. Now, Mercedes is not 25. Her daughter, Terica, is 13. She had her 15. So Mercedes is 28. Okay? So she's a very talented dancer. And you're going to see that throughout the show when she's doing the choreography with the girls. So the Pink Booty Battle Stars, DJ Never Scared, announces the girls. He announces Blue Cinnamon. Everybody laughing. I mean, if she was going to be named Blue Cinnamon, she should at least colored her hair blue. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that. And I'm not all for the colors, but she should have did that. Then you got Strawberry. Then you have Alizé. And then you have, last but not least, Autumn Night, sounding all poetic and shit. I think Uncle Clifford basically told DJ Never Scared to say that shit. But anyway, Autumn dances, and while she's dancing on the floor, she's having flashbacks of Montavious about to shoot her. And so she basically, you know, does what she has to do to work there, and she wins, even while going through all of that. So what we see is that he pulled the gun out on her, put it in her face, the gun clocked, but the bullet never went in to inside of her. So she basically wins, and she asked Uncle Clifford, what a girl got to do to work here? So Mercedes is like, why the hell you want to work here? Because Mercedes ain't feeling her, because the crowd loved her. And Keyshawn wasn't feeling it, and Gidget wasn't either, because they're the Trinity. So Uncle Clifford's like, you got nice teeth, you got nice nice hair. You know, you got a big booty, but you got 2 little bitty titties. But when you start stacking up paper, you can always buy implants. And so Mercedes is like, basically, you know, there's no room here. But he said there's a spot open because Mercedes is leaving. So Mercedes don't like Autumn, and it's really because she's light skinned. And it's also because, who the fuck are you? Where did you come from? You popped out of nowhere. And that part I can understand. But the light skin thing, the history of that in the South, it's a lot of colorism and a lot of light skin, you know. You see that throughout the show about the colorism, the color line, which is really what it is, that color line. Historically, throughout these in the South, where no matter what, light skin is still king over dark skin when it comes to racial hierarchy. And sometimes them light-skinned women get treated better than them white women because of the exoticism that comes with it. So we get to Autumn drinking vodka to ease the pain of what she's really, really dealing with. So Autumn is looking at a photo of her daughter. And her daughter basically, you know, this is sad, her daughter drowned during, like, trying to escape Montavious in the flood. So the photo shuts off the phone because the battery basically died. So she's like, no, 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 no. And she screams. And it cuts the scene. And that scene always basically, kind of, it's a lot. So we get to scene 4 with Patrice Woodbine. And I call her Pastor Phony Patrice. Because nobody is as phony on that show as Patrice Woodbine. So at the time, Patrice is just a woman who's just ministers. But she wants to be like a main pastor of the church. She wants to be the head. But you see how that goes. So she's basically preaching and like, hey, no, 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 no. And she's like pointing towards Mercedes sitting there. But you can't get no blessing while you sitting down. And it's like, I'm like, Biffa, you the main phony bitch on the show. And it's like, she's so phony that her daughter basically gives money in collection. And she gets up and she leaves. Because she can't stand her mother. And you're going to see why if you haven't watched the show. So you see like the exterior town of Chucalissa. Now I want to say this. Chucalissa is not a real town in Mississippi. But it's actually a real section in Tennessee. So they film the show in Tennessee. They don't film it in Mississippi. But you see the decay of a lot of cities in the South. And this plays a huge role in the show, P Valley. So while you're seeing various scenes in Chucalissa, you see Andre taking photos of Big L and one of the workers at the Pink. So Big L and this guy, the guy is throwing garbage in the sanitation truck. But Big L is picking up a package from the sanitation truck. And he took a photo of it. And he took a photo of it because Andre knows that it's illegal. And we all know what it is. If you've seen it, it's the pills that they sell. And these are things that they're doing to basically keep the Pink afloat. And also put some extra money in their pockets. So Cliff is getting ready to go to the check cashing spot. And at the check cashing spot, he took out a refinancing loan. So what happens is the lady, she's Asian. It's inside of, they have a cleaners, a check cashing spot, a refinance loan, payday loans, all these different places that they sell in. And so she won't accept the check because the last payment he made with check basically bounced. So he made the bad checklist last month. So Clifford's like, you could have used a better photo. Now when Clifford goes down there to handle business, he dresses manly. But you still know he's gay. But when he's basically living his day-to-day life, he dresses and presents himself as a woman, like a woe man, with the beard and everything. So he's like, so she's like, listen, I'm trying to basically get everything done. I'm trying to do what I got to do. So she's like, well, your establishment is in need of toilet paper, huh? And he says, who told you that's your husband? And so she gets upset because her husband probably goes to the Pink too. So she's like, cash or money order on this equity loan against the club, or the club is gone and they'll take it. So pretty much that closes that scene, and you'll understand more about that later on. So what happens is Mercedes is practicing with her team of girls, the Chucalissa Challengers, and they trying to beat the South Haven Sizzles. So Terica is on the team, and Terica is her daughter. And Terica is basically the best dancer there. And she gets it from her mother. And so Patrice walks by, and she's basically seeing that Terica got on these booty shorts. And so she's like, her mother lets her wear it, because unless you haven't seen it, in the beginning, we think that Shell is her mother. Okay? So what happens is she's tough on those girls. She was like, I don't like what I'm seeing. Y'all going to have to give me 50 toe touches. And them toe touches, they was easy when I was young. I could do toe touches with no problem. But honey, oh no, I can't do that shit now. So Mercedes' mother, Pastor Phony Patrice, tells her, I can't believe I even let you hide your booty money in the church building. And Mercedes replies, you sure wasn't complaining when I put that booty money in y'all account so y'all could apply for that loan. You got your own pulpit, I got mine. Because Patrice needs Mercedes' money to basically do something that you going to see in the middle of the season of the show, that's going to be underhanded. She thinking that it's a loan that they're applying for, but it's not. But anyway, we move on to the scene where Big L, who basically he handles the money and the other things at the club. He going to say, we in the hole, you in the hole, that deep for a refinancing loan. And Cliff said, now hush, nigga, hush. So he was like, we ain't never going to get out of the hole with Mercedes leaving, because she's leaving. So he basically changes the rules of the math. And he tells the girls at the meeting, I'm charging $40 for a lap dance. So I'm taking that out your cut for every lap dance. 15% cut off for the private rooms. And the stage rent was always paid beforehand. But now that's going to be included in the tip out too, because he got to keep that club afloat. So the two bartenders, they mad because they basically like, we ain't making that much money at the bar. Anyway, now the reason why one of them talk real tough, she a lesbian. And her girlfriend is the one that go to the nursing school. So Mercedes is at like, basically, I'm the reason that's keeping y'all afloat. This big booty ass is mine that's keeping y'all afloat. And as long as I'm here, y'all still going to be making money. And she was like, tonight this ass will rain Hamiltons and maybe even Tubmans. So Keyshawn walks in. She got a fresh bruise. This time she got bruises on her face and on her right side of her neck. And she's being abused by Derek. Derek Wright, the white boy she fell in love with. And so Gidget basically is told by Uncle Clifford to come babysit Keyshawn's daughter. She was like, but I don't want to. But he was like, yes, you will do it. Now, come on now. You're doing good. Birth the baby and so forth. So Cliff talks to Keyshawn. And Keyshawn's like, I hit him first. And she basically tells him, she said, I got 2 hits in. And so Cliff was like, where the children? She's like, one of them is staying with my mom. That's the son. He's staying with the mother. And so the other one is still with her because that's the baby. And so she basically like, Cliff was like, tells her, I had a nigga, beat my ass before I greened his dinglings. So she's like, really? And so it's like, yeah, I know what you're going through. So she's like, no, you don't. And she's really telling him, you don't know what I'm going through because you are not a woman. You're not in a heterosexual relationship. So Keyshawn thinks that only heterosexual women get abused in relationships. But she learned that so do gay men. So he's like, you can't let these men get to you and abuse you. Your face is your money. I don't know why you let these niggas do this to you. And she's like, but I don't. He was like, listen, your face is your money and it's your strength. And you can't let a nigga take that away from you. That's what you got. That's your survival. Without that, you can't make money. How you going to get out of the situation you in? And that's a very good point that he made. So then we go to the scene where they're preparing for a night at the Pink. And Cliff is basically wondering why the Mexicans are at the Pink. And this is the clue. Basically, Big L hands him a check. And it reads Promised Land Equities. And it was basically made to Juan Alvarez. basically paid $178 to invest in the promised land equities. So it basically seems like, because this part is a complicated part. It's either Juan basically is paying to basically invest, or Juan got paid by promised land equities, but I don't think so. I think Juan is investing and told to invest in his land. Because the one thing about Latinos, they do invest. They really do. So y'all can dispute me on that. I'm not sure. I won't get mad. But that one was a little bit complicated. But that was a good clue. So we see this guy. We see this Hummer that stops in front of the Pink. And we see none other than Little Murda arriving with Wody. So what happens is Wody is basically like cleaning the floral bricks. And Little Murda like, what you doing, man? And so he's like, I'm cleaning the bricks. I'm about to give you your flowers. And so he puts the bricks inside the bag. And he's like, here you go. So he was like, what the fuck you doing, faggot? So he's like, I'm giving you your flowers. Like, in other words, you about to basically break and become big. So the reason why they go to the Pink is because Wody is his manager. So that's why he's basically cleaning off, the floral arranger, because he's an undertaker. And they use those things sometimes at, when they bury people and whatnot. So he got them bricks from his spot. So he's his manager as well. That's his artist. So he basically takes him to the Pink to break his music. So he's from Mississippi. He's a local talent. And so he tries to get into, he cuts through the front of the line. And so Diamond's like, where the hell you think you going? He was like, I'm VIP. I'm Little Murda. I'm an artist. And Wody like, he an artist and stuff. And so Diamond like, don't nobody know you who's VIP? Go to the back of the line. So Wody feels some kind of way. But Little Murda's like, nah, it's cool. It's cool. Because Little Murda, what you want to learn about Little Murda, even at that scene, he's a cool, calm, and collect guy. He's a good dude. And Little Murda basically goes to the back of the line because he's determined he's going to get his music. He's going to break his music that night. So Little Murda is the character that really hooks everyone into the story besides Autumn. And he's kind of like an Autumn too, because that season we really didn't know anything about him, but he was more open and likable as opposed to Autumn. So Cliff basically tells Mercedes to break in Autumn. Teach her how everything goes. Teach her the routine. But Autumn is thinking, I don't have to do anything like that. I can just, dance and that's all. So basically, she teach her the routine, how to spy who got money. And so this guy basically comes in with this suit and he ain't popped his tags yet. And Autumn like, what you mean? He ain't popped his tags yet, meaning he still got the tag from the store on his suit. And she's like, damn, girl. Like, yeah. So what ends up happening is that the bartender says, and that's the lesbian girl, like, Autumn, come over here. Which one you picking? And she was like, I'm picking the one with the Space Jams and everything on his feet. Unless he got $850 in his pocket, look like he's spending it all on himself and on his wardrobe. So then Keyshawn basically is breastfeeding her daughter when Diamond enters. And Keyshawn is still getting beat because we still see the mark on her neck. And so Diamond is straight up office is like, yo, I'll take him out for you. And she was like, no, you got too many bodies on you from the war. Because he was in Iraq. So Diamond's like, it's better him than you. Meaning, would you rather go out? Or would you rather me take him out? And you will see if you haven't, why Diamond want to take him out. So Diamond ends up babysitting Keyshawn's daughter while she ends up doing her set on a pole. And she is, I would say, she's a better dancer than Mercedes. Mercedes is excellent, but Keyshawn is a star. She got that crossover appeal, and she making that money. So Little Murder basically pulls up through, and he's basically gets inside the club. He throws the bills up in the air, and then he ends up getting his own private room with Wody and Pico. Y'all gonna see about Pico. And he also basically have like the junior strippers, the girls that's not the main stripper girls in there. And so what happens is Mercedes is basically seeing all of this, and she walk inside. So he like, oh, shawty, you know, and doing all that. And he was like inviting her to a lap dance. And she said, but your lap is full. And so he's basically like, you know, you gonna have to make this G-string greener than it already is, than ever, if you want me to basically dance for you on your lap. So basically he tells her you got consonants and assonants. And so what happens is that she basically see the duffel bag, and she see him throwing stuff in the air and everything. And so Mercedes is a good spotter. She basically snaps, and she basically tell them girls to leave. That snap was telling them to leave. So she says, I see you spent a G perpetrating on these hoes. Your floral arrangements is filling up the duffel bag. And she basically is telling him this because he says, I got a Louis duffel full of coochie coupons. And that's when she snapped that finger. And she said that duffel bag could have 8 stacks, but you only, if that, ain't got nothing but 5. And then she says, really 4 to be exact. And he was like, wow, you a OG for real. And he was like, hot rapper with 4 stacks on the bitches. And so she basically is like, you know, I'll, you know, dance with you. So then he was like, no, who's that? And he sees Autumn. So he's basically like, yo, I want to see Beyonce's cousin. Now, if you get the reference, it's because Beyonce in 2003 had the white tank top with the shorts, the blue shorts, the denim shorts. So he glances over, and she didn't want to dance with him at first, but because he wanted Autumn, light-skinned Autumn, she's like, no. I'm going to dance with you. I'll bring my girl over since you want to dance with her. But we'll do it for 2 G's. And so he's like, okay. So then she tells Autumn, hey, that guy over there wants you to dance in VIP. She's like, but I don't want to do VIP because Uncle Clifford said I have to. She's like, listen, you're going to have to learn how this whole thing works, okay? You're going to have to sooner or later basically be broken in, okay? You just can't say, oh, I just want to do this, I want to do that. And a lot of that was that light skin privilege. It's like, I'm pretty, I'm cute. I don't have to do the dirty stuff that y'all bitches got to do. So what happens is they end up dancing at the Pink and works the VIP room. She gets nervous. And Pico is basically, it's something not right with him. But Diamond comes in and has to regulate. And you know, Diamond ends up leaving. So Mercedes basically tells Little Murder, basically, because he's really trying to break the music. So she's like, I can't bump to this. Because it's like, everybody know what I'm at. So she's like, first of all, you got to up ante the tremolo. And he's like, I can't bump my booty to this. My booty got to have artistic integrity. And he's like, bitch, this is trap reggae soul. Now, when I first heard that shit, the first time I saw it, the reggae part had me rolling. Trap reggae soul. I said, you know what? I'm done. But anyway, Pico basically gets his ass whipped because Diamond sees that he really was trying to assault Mercedes. And you going to see Pico. You're going to see that little dude later on in the series. So Little Murda is basically like, I'm determined to get somebody to break this song. So what ends up happening is he bumps into, by accident, he bumps into Uncle Clifford. So he's like, I want to apologize to Autumn because I want to apologize to the light-skinned girl because I didn't mean for that to happen to her. So Clifford's like, oh, you talking about the new girl Autumn? Yes. So they go into the room, and then when they open the door, he turns around and he really liked what he see because Little Murda like men. So he was like, well, I'm the manager. So he's like, oh, so you the person I need to complain to. He's like, I'm trying to break my music. And so he's like, yeah. And so, he flirts with Uncle Clifford. And then he's like, I lays my effers down. They call me Little Murda. So he's like, oh, wait, so you flirting with me? So he's like, yeah. So what ends up happening is that, we kind of think they do something. And so Autumn has a flashback because she got assaulted sexually, but not really. It wasn't no intercourse involved, but she got assaulted, and she has a flashback of Montavious. So she see Andre taking photos of her, and she asked him, what you doing? Like, she think he a weirdo. He was like, no, I'm working on real estate, and I got to take pictures to beat with my client. So he asked her if she's all right, and so she was like, yeah. And so he was like, you got to smoke? He was like, no. So she was like, what's your vice? And he was like, none. She was like, I don't trust no man with no vice. And I'm like, okay, Autumn, that must have what got you with Montavious. So what ends up happening is that Andre asks her the name because he says, my name is Andre Watkins. And she was like, my name is Autumn Night. He was like, oh, it sounds all poetic and shit. But you can also call me Haley because that's her real name. So he was like, all right, Haley. So he's the first person that she tells him her real name. So he takes photos, and she asked him, why are you taking photos at night? He said, I take photos at night because the place isn't open in the day, but it's popping at night because it's open at night. And she said, you ain't seen pop until you come inside. He was like, I don't think I want to come inside. So what happens is you basically see the guys and everything inside the club, and DJ, never scared, is basically told by Clifford, it's like, play Little Murders, everybody. So Miss Mercedes is coming out to dance for Mercedes Sundays, and he was like, okay, it's Mercedes Sundays, and so Mercedes comes out, get up for your girl Mercedes. So Mercedes is ready for her set, and she hear everybody. And she like, nah. So Little Murda's excited at first because like his music breaking. But then DJ never says, it's like, rewind. So that what happens is they play this song called Fall. So Little Murda like, no, what's going on? So Mercedes, she doing the do, she effing it up and whatnot. And, she get up on the pole, climb, and, she doing her, thing. And then she basically does the death drop. And then, she shakes it and whatever. And so she, got the band, put his face down there and then walks in past the phony Patrice. Oh, Lord. And so the mother basically messes the whole thing up. So she walks out because it's like, you don't want your family seeing you basically doing any, like stripping and stuff, dancing on a pole and whatnot. So she basically walks there and gets the money and puts it in a plastic bag. And so she's like, Patrice basically comes to get, folks what they need. And she tells her, you very talented, my daughter, you gifted. Folks love you. You get them to pay to spend their rent money, and their car notes on you. And she was like, yes, I'm talented. It is what it is. And she was like, blessed and highly favored. Where did I go wrong with my daughter? And she is like, basically, you giving me a hoe for a daughter. It says stripping is blasphemous. It ain't going to get you in the gates of heaven. She said, but I heard hell is hella lit. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't. She was like, why did my God forsaken me and gave me a hoe for a daughter? And she says, you had me to bend over for breakfast at the Waffle House as a child. And she was like, the church should have been getting double of them tithes. You're not a waste, but you are wasting your talent. But I blame myself. And that's because she was a hoe at one time. That's where Mercedes gets a lot of that from, her mother. And she was like, save her, Lord. Save this hoe. Save her. Save this hoe. And so she gives her up the money. And she said, God is always grateful for offerings, but he's even more grateful for repentance. And the bitch is phony because she lying to the girl. She not getting the money for the church. The bitch is a liar. The devil is a liar. And that's a demon. Pastor Phony Patrice. So, we basically see towards the end that Little Murda really has integrity because he gives the G stacks to Mercedes and Autumn. And so Autumn, being all, prim and proper, she's like, here, Uncle Clifford, here's 50% cut for the VIP, and here's $147 for the lap dance. She was like, oh, you doing good, Mercedes. You train her well. And so he's like, Mercedes, what's your cut at? And where your tip out? She was like, I ain't got it. He was like, hold up. You ain't got tip out money for Mercedes Sundays? And he was like, oh, yeah. That's because you had to give it to that holier than thou heifer, Patrice, your mama. So she don't know about Little Murda giving the word. Like he basically is like, you know what? I'm gonna give you what you earned. Here's this money. You take this. So basically the two G's, right? One G was going to be kept for the club. But he's like, take both of them. Because your mama doing you dirty. And nobody gets mad over that, none other than Big L. And I like Big L. And Big L, when they both leave out the room, he's like, damn. Like, we still going to be in a hole. So, the ladies are basically, leaving the main ladies, which is Gidget, Keyshawn, Mercedes. They waiting for their ride. And also Autumn. So, you see Keyshawn having her ride because Diamond offers to drive her home. And she's like, no, my ride is here. Derek is here. And you see the mint Pinto. Oh, no, the mint Prius. The mint Prius. And so, that's the car you see in episode 5 of season 2. And I love Mercedes because Mercedes said something powerful, profound. She said, even if he looked like Idris Elba, I wouldn't let him whip my ass. And so Gidget is like, she gonna do what she wanna do. You're not gonna be able to change her. And you're gonna see in season 2 why Gidget says that, because nobody in that series knows her like Gidget. Okay? They go way back. And I knew in the show they went way back. I knew her, Keyshawn, Gidget, and Derek went way back to when they was young. I felt that energy. So Gidget asks Autumn, where you headed? She's like, I'm heading east. And so Mercedes said, if you heading east is that way. And she was like, well, we could drive you. No. My car only got room for 2 seats. And I ain't having another lap dance. Okay? Meaning a chick ain't gonna be sitting on my lap so I could drive her home. Really, she don't fuck with you like that, Autumn. But Autumn was like, I'm good. I got a ride. So while she waiting outside, we basically see Andre taking photos. but it ain't of the club. He's taking photos of Haley because he want to know more about her. And now Andre Watkins is something else. But I love this show. When I tell you I love this show, I love Down in the Valley. Love me some P-Valley. Okay? And let me tell you something. This is an excellent written show. Now, I know my review is over 50 minutes, but this is how I'm going to do my reviews unless it's needed. The reason why this one was longer is because this one had a lot really going on. But I'm going to have to buy another notebook because I'm going to do another review. I'm probably going to do it probably tonight and probably like upload it in the morning. But what I'm probably going to do also, I'm probably going to like shoot them out all at once. But I'm definitely going to do 2 tomorrow, episode 3 and 4. I'm going to do episode 5 and 6 on Friday, and Saturday I'm probably going to do 7 and 8 because there's only 2 episodes that season. But I'm going to also redo season 2. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a playlist. So I'm going to do season 2 again. I might do it like that, season 2. So I don't know, but I just love this episode. And what you see in this episode, you basically seeing the people in the show, basically, when you basically go back into the beginning, it all makes sense about what you're seeing now in season 2. But excellent acting, excellent writing. Katori Hall is gifted. Clifford, who has been portrayed by Nico Anand, who has been playing this role going back to 2007, gifted. Keyshawn, the breakout star in my opinion. Mercedes is good, but also Pastor Phony Patrice. Excellent. Now, when it comes to Haley, her character, she's a good actress, but to me, when she's not around, her character is really like a hook-in, like Little Murder, but Little Murder is good. But I like all of them, even Haley. So, with that being said, this is my review of P-Valley, Season 1, Episode 1, titled Perpetratin. Okay? And what you're going to see on this show, they always say the title of the episode in the episode. They always mention it, and that's gifted too. Well, signing off. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel where you will get notification on future uploads, reviews on reality and scripted series such as P-Valley and others, as well as live and everything else. Also hit the like button. Also share and comment, and I'll be back soon. Later.